Hi everyone, this is Mallory Flowers on behalf of Jennifer Shelton Associates, and we are coming to you live from Washington, D.C., and welcome to our Webinar Wednesday series. Our webinars are held every Wednesday in 2018 at 12 and 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and our speakers range from accountants to attorneys and other industry professionals. The full schedule for the rest of the year is on our website underneath the webinar tab. In the interest of time, we do not take questions, and our speakers' contact info is posted on the last slide. So if you have any questions, please contact the speaker directly. The recordings are on our website underneath the archived webinar tab, as well as on our YouTube channel. All right, this is just a quick blurb about us. Jennifer Shelton Associates is based in downtown Washington, D.C., and we help both product and service companies with federal contracting. Our clients are domestic and foreign, defense contractors and civilian, and our services range from market analysis reports to contract vehicles, including the GSA schedule. We can also help you with proposal writing and post-award contract administration. More information about our services and upcoming events can be found on our website. All right, so we're going to go ahead and dig into today's presentation, which is What's Your Values Proposition? And David Stearman is our speaker today. You can learn more about his background on this slide. Thank you, David, for joining us, and I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Mallory, and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. I look forward to spending this time with you. So today we're talking about what your values proposition is. So Mallory, next slide. So I've been doing federal government proposals for 20 years, and in my business, we talk about a value proposition. That's a big deal. A central concept in what we do. Essentially, a value proposition is a distinguishing characteristic or set of characteristics of an offering that a prospective customer wants and will be willing to pay for. It is essentially what we're selling. And so this is a familiar concept for anyone working in this field. Next. The key thing about a value proposition is it's transactional, meaning it's about, we're trying to make a sale. It's externally oriented. It's less about what we're offering than about what somebody else wants. Therefore, it's customer focused. It's features based, meaning we describe certain elements of what we have to offer that we think our customer wants and will be willing to pay for. And typically, or ideally, it is substantiated by some sort of proof that we can do what we say we will do for them. Next. So typically, a value proposition takes this form. We will deliver X, which is the specific benefits or outcomes that the customer wants or needs, by means of Y, which is the specific things that we make or do, and as demonstrated by Z, which are the proof points, the things that say we can do what we say we will do. Next slide. We're not talking about any of that today. Today we're talking about a values proposition. Not a value proposition, but a values, plural. Next slide. A values proposition is the set of fundamental values or beliefs that drive what we do and provide meaning and purpose to our life and work. Next slide. So when we think about a values proposition, what we're really thinking about is what matters to you. This is not about what you think matters to your customer and therefore how you're going to sell to them. This is really about what matters to you as an individual or as an organization. What drives what we do and why we do it. How do we get at that? Next slide. We start with why. That's the fundamental question to ask ourselves. Why are we doing what we do? Some of you may be familiar with a guy called Simon Sinek, who wrote a book years ago called Start With Why, and has had other books such as Find Your Why. I actually came to him, I discovered him some years after, I had already started to ask myself this question, why? And I came up with this idea that in everything I do, I should start with why. And then lo and behold, and I even thought about writing a book about that. And then lo and behold, I discovered that Simon Sinek had already written that book. He is a very interesting guy. I recommend him to you. You can find his website. He's got a whole set of stuff that he does and people that he works with, and really, really good stuff. But as we talk about our values proposition, as we think about what matters to us, the key thing really is start with why. So let's dive into that a little bit more. Next slide. There are a number of things that make up your why. One of those things might be your ethics. Things like loyalty and honesty, fairness, compassion. All of those values that are foundational to you as a human being or to you as an organization, these are the things that matter. And these are the things that drive what you do, ideally. Of course, for most of us, being imperfect human beings, we don't always necessarily live up to these ideals, but we strive to. So it's useful to actually list these out. What are the things? I've listed some out here. These are ones that matter to me, but there are others that I didn't list, and your list will be different. Make a list. What are the ethics that underlie everything that you do? Next slide. You also want to think about what are your aspirations, your hopes, and your dreams. These are things that matter to you as an individual, as an organization. This is a list that I made for myself as an individual. All my aspirations, my hopes, my dreams, they're things like owning a home, which I do, marriage, which I have, financial security, working on it, travel, not as much as I'd like, fame, making a difference, working on those as well. So these are the kinds of things that are also going to be important drivers for you as an individual and for your organization, because these are the things that you want to achieve or hope to achieve or dream of achieving or having or doing or being. Aspirations, hopes, and dreams are part of the why, and these are a subset of your values. Next slide. You also want to think about priorities. Faith, family, country, community, money, influence. This is part of the why also. These are things that drive what you do, how you do it, as an individual, as an organization. And these priorities are important, and typically you're going to have a rank ordering. Which one is the most important to you? Again, I suggest taking some time and coming up with this list, coming up with your rank ordering. This is all part of discovering or creating your why, and that's going to be a fundamental underpinning to what you do and how well you do it. That's kind of the basis of Simon Sinek's concept of start with why. Before you figure out what you're going to do, you need to figure out why you're doing it. And he has a lot of great examples. He points to Steve Jobs at Apple, for example, one of his favorite examples. Steve Jobs' why was not about making computers or phones or watches or any of that. His why was, I want to create a cool experience for for people. That was it. I want to create a cool experience that people enjoy. So everything that he built ultimately was based on that foundational why. And that became the priority for him and for his company. So priorities are also important. Next slide. So unlike the value proposition that I showed you earlier, which is this long, involved statement that involves a whole bunch of pieces, a values proposition tends to be simpler. I strive to achieve X by embodying Y. And the interesting thing here is, and you'll notice right away, I'm sure, that I haven't put in stuff in parentheses, what is it that is X and what is it that is Y? The reason for that is because those ethics and hopes and priorities may be part of your X, part of your Y, or part of both. So it's not as clear-cut as a value proposition. You may be striving to achieve success by embodying integrity. Or you may strive to achieve integrity by embodying honesty. So these things can be on either side of this equation, so to speak. And again, I really encourage folks to write down all those ethics, all those hopes and dreams, all those priorities, all those things that matter to you. Take some time making that list and then spend some time with the list. You know, you may have 10 or 12 or 20 things on the list. Sit with it, circle the 3 that are resonate the most for you. Those may be the 3 that find your way into your values proposition. And I really do encourage you to formulate one, something like this, that you can, if you were asked, that you could state it. In the same way that organizations typically have mission statements, which often look like value propositions, individuals and organizations can have a values proposition. This is a much more basic and fundamental statement. It's kind of like, why am I here on this world? What is it that my purpose in life is? And again, this can apply to individuals and to organizations. But I strive to achieve X by embodying Y as an individual. As an organization, we might say we strive to achieve X by embodying Y. Same thing. But this is all about the values, the ethics, the priorities, the hopes and dreams. Next slide. So the question for you is, what's your values proposition? This word map kind of gives you a sense, but there are all sorts of things that can go into this. One of the important things to note about a values proposition as opposed to a value proposition, values propositions are internally oriented. They're about me as an individual, about us as an organization. They're also aspirational rather than transactional. It's this vision of, kind of me at my best, or my organization at its best. It's aspirational. It's not about what matters to somebody else, it's about what matters to me. So it's kind of like the flip side of the coin to a value proposition, which is externally focused, customer oriented. It's got a bunch of features to it. It's got some sort of proof statement or data to back it up. That's not what a values proposition is. It's internally oriented, self-directed, aspirational. It's not based on features, but it's based on all of those hopes and dreams and priorities, etc. And it's typically intangible, as opposed to the value proposition, which has some sort of proof statements. It's tangible, it's real, it's something I can hang my hat on. A values proposition is intangible. That's by design. That's a feature, not a bug. All these things that matter to me, my ethics, my priorities, my hopes, they tend to be intangible. Some of them may be more tangible than others. You know, owning a home is kind of a tangible thing. That was something that was important to me, and I achieved that. Good for me. But when you think about things like integrity, honesty, compassion, success, fame, a little less tangible. And that's precisely the point. We're trying to get at something that's far deeper and very personal. So my invitation to all of you is to think about what your ethics are, what your hopes and dreams are, what your priorities are, and formulate a values proposition for yourself or for the organization that has that aspirational, inward-focused, intangible element to it, but formulate it, write it down, think about it every day. It's going to help you be better as an individual and as an organization, because you will be focused on what matters. A little farther looking, not just what's right in front of your nose, not just what do I need to do today, what's on my list, not just what does our bottom line look like. This is bigger, deeper, stronger. What matters? So that's my offering to you today. That's my invitation to you today. Next slide. There's my contact information. I am very open to feedback, to questions, to comments, to criticisms. Openness is one of my values. It's part of my why. So please let me know what you think. Does this resonate for you? Do you have questions? Would you like to go deeper? All of those, I'd be happy to hear from you. I want to thank Jennifer Schultz and Associates for giving me the opportunity to share this with you today and spend this time with you, and for doing all that they do. So Mallory, I will pass it back to you to sum up.
Thank you, David. That was a lot of good information, and thank you for everybody who joined us. Next week at 12, we are covering the Small to Large Transition Challenge in GovCon, and at 12:30, we are covering GSA schedules for the software companies. Thank you for joining us today.